Previously on Internet's Janitor.
He was the worst Joker ever. I hope he never returns.
It was a setup. Jared Leto Joker was sabotaged. Looks here like it was an inside job.
He's back. I know.
All I know is this Janitor character is somehow caught in the middle of this. He has no idea how much danger he's really in.
Same thing the FBI brainwashed me to do. And shoot my channel in the head.
Appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Yeah, or made to look like one. Something about this case stinks all the way to the top. I'm pulling everyone out. With the Janitor dead, things are about to start getting real dirty.
Show's over, Joker! Hand over the Snyder Cut. America doesn't need any more Jokers. We're done. Janitor! You're supposed to be dead. We made you kill yourself. What the hell are you doing here?
What I should have did a long time ago. Get your hands off Jared Leto's Joker. This doesn't change anything between us. We still have unfinished business when all this is over. But I want to see the Snyder Cut. If I'm being 100% honest with myself, I think you deserve one more shot at this.
You think you can stop us? We're the goddamn FBI. You don't burn us. We burn you.
I'm sick of cleaning up your shit.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
Boy, I sure hope you do more in the new movie than you're doing right now.
This movie's never gonna see the light of day, Janitor.
Light of day? Well, you failed to realize that DC is the darkest of the comic book movie universes. And that makes it edgy and cool. We don't need to see the light of day. We already live in the darkness.
Hey, Janitor.
Get the Snyder Cut to HBO Max headquarters right away. Leave me. I'm done for. Hey, Jared Leto Joker. Did you ever wonder why I was so hard on you? Why I was so obsessed with you? We were brothers, separated at birth. But I wasn't good enough to be in your band. I'm just a janitor. But I still want what's best for you. Now go deliver the Snyder Cut, so people around the world can learn that Jared Leto Joker can still be pretty good. I'm not gonna make it. Think of me at Mars Island, which is totally happening this year.
Well, it's finally here. The reason you've been hearing the buzzword creative vision thrown around for the last 2 years. It's Zack Snyder's Justice League. Lunatic Zack Snyder literally too angry to stop making superhero movies. Even though we tried to tell him that we didn't like them, he insisted it was for our own good and that he had an overall plan. Well, that plan went to shit when Warner Brothers sabotaged Zack's Justice League in 2017. And here we are 4 years later. And after hearing hashtag release the Snyder Cut 1,000 times since then, it was ingrained into my suggestible brain that I too wanted them to release the Snyder Cut. I can't really explain it, because even though I don't like any of his DC movies, the potential existence of the mythical unicorn of superhero films, Zack Snyder's Justice League, piqued my curiosity. So like a lot of people, it was one of the only reasons I signed up for HBO Max. But then the news broke that Zack Snyder was resurrecting Jared Leto's Joker for his movie, and that's when I knew why my heart had supported the Snyder Cut all along, because it gave Jared Leto's Joker one more shot. And I'm not surprised Zack picked Jared for the movie. They both probably felt like they had something to prove, like they had been wronged by Warner Brothers and by public perception, people making YouTube videos, things like that. And this was their last shot to keep their names relevant in the game at the DCEU. So after never hearing Zack Snyder shut up about his cut of the movie for the last few years, and after I made 7 bizarre videos fixated on the Jared Leto Joker, the two worlds collided and put 2 questions on my mind. Is the Snyder Cut really gonna be any good? Can America finally learn to love the Jared Leto Joker like me? The answer to those questions is something I'm actually completely shocked to report, but something that I always wanted to believe, because the Snyder Cut is fucking good. The real Jared Leto Joker has finally arrived. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a movie where Aquaman is a littering alcoholic, Joker offers to give Batman a reach around, and a black teenager has the lower half of his body ripped off and parents murdered in front of him. And the craziest thing about what I just said is that every single one of those scenes I just described was good. The opening of the scene was one of the most epic openings of a superhero film I have ever seen. You're forced to watch Superman wail in agony as his blood-curdling screams echo across the planet for a full 5 minutes. Basically the biggest fuck you to Mustache Skate that there could have been. Superman's death was kind of so-so for me in Batman vs Superman, but this revisit to this scene had my jaw on the floor, and from the very opening of the movie, I realized Zack Snyder's creative vision for the DC universe was finally being witnessed at its full potential without any studio meddling. And with Zack Snyder at the wheel gripping this movie with full force, he had my undivided attention for 3 straight hours. And then for about 20 minutes, I started to space out a little bit, and then this happened. And the movie picked right back up from that point on, and it was fantastic all the way up to the very end. I'm tired of Marvel movies right now. I love them, but I've seen every one of them over and over, and as good as they are, sometimes it feels like they're lacking something to me. Things like this, and this, and this.
Make no mistake, I will fucking kill you.
And probably the most shocking thing to me is that the end of this movie made me want more. I haven't felt that way since Infinity War. While I think Avengers Endgame was a great movie, the step forward in superhero tentpole films no longer feels like Avengers 5. I think I would rather see Justice League 2. But more importantly, I need to see this Nightmare Timeline movie immediately. In Batman vs Superman, all that Nightmare Timeline stuff and the Flash running back in time saying Lois is the key made no sense to me. Or really anyone for that matter. But in this movie, it made a lot more sense because it kept expanding on it instead of just throwing those story threads in the trash. So it comes as no surprise that if you watch these versions of the movies, nothing makes any fucking sense and Superman has weird lips. And if you watch these versions, there's actually a coherent storyline connecting the film and Superman has his best close-up yet. But obviously, the best part of the Nightmare Timeline, the reason we're all here today, was this conversation. You know, it's been a long, lonely road being a Jared Leto Joker fan for the last few years. I was beginning to get worried that his Joker would disappear into obscurity forever. But just like this guy said, when America needed him the least, he came back. Out of every on-screen conversation Batman and Joker have ever had, this honestly felt like the most personal one. The way he calls him Bruce and talks about his parents and the jokes about murdering Robin. This is one of the most tense comic book movie conversations I have ever witnessed at one of the most epic movie locations I've ever seen. It's not just all style, there is substance behind everything that is happening here. This is the 3rd visit to the Nightmare Timeline in the movies, so you already understand that this is possibly the future of the Justice League that Batman has seen, because Cyborg saw it too. Just by looking at everyone, you can understand what's left of the Justice League is not looking good. They are even more hopeless than it first looks, because Batman has gotten so desperate, he has recruited the Jared Leto Joker for help. This conversation had the potential to be bad, and I was a little bit worried when I saw the trailer.
We live in a society.
Just imagine if there was like 30 quick cuts of the Joker and he's running all over the screen saying things like, "You and I are two sides of the same coin," and then he pulls out a knife and tries to betray someone while Rick Ross is blaring in the background. I was really worried something like that was gonna happen again. Here's what happened instead. We finally get confirmation that Joker knows who Bruce Wayne is, and he reveals it in a way that mocks him. Joker brings up the most terrible part of their history, that he murdered his adopted son. They acknowledge the existence of multiple timelines. Joker straight up calls out Batman saying, "This is your fault, you bitch, for letting Lois die." This card shit is cool. They reveal Harley's dying wish, and Batman makes a promise to kill the Jared Leto Joker. When things get so tense, the conversation literally stops, and they just let the tension sit in the air while the Joker is just processing things. Joker resets the conversation by giving in to Batman so he could stay on his good side. Joker calls for a truce and makes it official with his calling card. You get an overwhelming feeling that Jared Leto Joker's obsession with Bruce is sickening, but it's bliss for the Joker. This is like the Jared Leto Joker's Super Bowl. Teaming up with Batman is Jared Leto's greatest dream.
You know, the Bat is a lot of fun. He makes life worth living, but certainly I don't find him too intimidating. I think he's rather friendly.
This team up wouldn't work for any other Joker, so the fact that they pulled this off and made it feel natural, very amazing work. Because based on this 4 minutes of dialogue, there's no doubt a movie to be made that could make $1 billion with Batman and the Jared Leto Joker leading the Justice League in the Nightmare timeline. I would watch 4 hours of this. Because not only did this scene flesh out the Jared Leto Joker, it was Ben Affleck Batman's best scene in the movie. It's my favorite Batman scene he's ever filmed, because we actually explore his character instead of just watching him freak out about Superman and then frantically running around trying to put together the Justice League. This one scene showed me Ben Affleck Batman is legitimately an unstoppable force, and out of any on-screen Batman, he's seen the most shit by far. He's going head to head with Superman, but this time it's actually interesting instead of killing each other over a basic misunderstanding that could have been fixed with a phone call. I want to see this fight again. I want to see this team up. They said the Snyder Cut would never happen. Hopefully they start saying that about this movie too. Jared Leto Joker's mannerisms actually work in this movie because everything is played out, not edited to be all weird and trippy. His Joker no longer looks like a Jim Carrey impression. It just looks like Jared Leto's Joker, which is now legitimately disturbing.
So as usual, I'll be the bigger man.
He made me feel uncomfortable in a way that would be frightening if you were witnessing him in real life, instead of just making me feel uncomfortable because it's cringe. I think he was finally able to deliver a small but memorable performance that shows he can be one of the good Jokers too. Now let's talk about his costume change. You know, I went on record saying that without the tattoos, his character would make no fucking sense. But I just want to say that I was wrong. You see, I learned something today. That writing good dialogue that explores the character's motivations actually helps the flow of the movie more than just tattooing the themes directly onto them. Nightmare Timeline Joker is without a doubt the craziest Joker costume we have ever had on screen. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's worthy of recognition, and by far my favorite Jared Leto Joker look from now on. Now let's talk about the heart of this movie. The heart of this movie isn't actually Jared Leto's Joker, and it's not Ben Affleck's Batman. The heart of this movie isn't even Superman. The true heart of this movie was this man right here, Ray Fisher's Cyborg. I think it's pretty apparent now why Ray Fisher has always been so outspoken about the Snyder Cut, because in this cut of the movie, he is without a doubt the breakout character. Imagine being a relatively unknown actor told to go stand next to Ben Affleck's fully suited Batman while you're dressed in a CGI leotard in an attempt to look more brooding than him. The fact that he pulled that off is amazing. The shots of him digging up his own grave and the close-up of him after he watched his dad die were some of the most moving scenes in the movie. He had a way of acting with just his facial expressions. I hope more people start supporting him and he gets put back on the Flash movie because he's an amazing actor. What Disney did to John Boyega, WB tried to do to him, and the Snyder Cut was his redemption. Everyone was great in this film. I think it was an amazing cast, but while everyone was running around doing their best superhero acting, Ray Fisher was delivering a performance that was a little more elevated. The final battle did not feel like a giant CGI mess. It's ironic because the DCEU has never felt more stable than at this moment. So after all of that work for the last decade, everything Zack Snyder did finally makes sense to me. But just when I finally start caring, it's over. If you would have told me that the new Justice League is going to be rated R a few years ago, I would have never believed you. But in these pandemic times, movies have gotten a lot more bizarre, mostly to its detriment. But this is the first pandemic movie I think I actually enjoyed. Absolutely nothing else comes to mind.
I lost someone I loved once.
Actually, it was twice. Did you not see your movie, Wonder Woman 1984? Because America did. We want you to answer for some of your crimes. Steppenwolf was amazing. For some reason, I legitimately felt bad for him. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think it has something to do with the character design. He looks like such a tortured soul throughout several moments in the film. Like this guy legitimately looks like he needs a hug or something, but instead they cut off his head. If I were to touch on anything in the movie I didn't like, I would say there was a certain musical score that kept popping up that was a little obnoxious. I don't even need to say which one. I know everyone knows what I'm talking about. And Batman was kind of boring, but the conversation between him and Jared Leto Joker made up for all that. I would highly recommend this movie to anyone that enjoys superhero films. It was worth the hype. It's worthy of a sequel. Marvel will never be able to compete with the brutality of this movie, so I hope Zack Snyder makes more, because it felt like a step forward in superhero films. And after watching it twice now, I've decided I will be retiring all Jared Leto Joker jokes from now on, because after Zack Snyder's Justice League, Jared Leto Joker is nothing to laugh about anymore.